am an SLP assistant who makes videos for other SLP assistants. I'm also a mom to a baby boy who is now 15 months old, so I share a lot of my speech content for my mommies out there. Now this video is a lot more speech SLPA oriented. It's how to use Uno in your speech sessions. Now this is in no way saying like you can't do this at home with your child, because I encourage you to do so. But as an SLP assistant, I've heard other people use Uno in speech sessions and I never really understood. I was like, it's more of a game, you know, it's a family oriented game. It's very competitive. I know everyone has played before, so that's why I thought it would be a good idea to try. I just never understood how people do it. So I actually recently made an Instagram, and if you follow me on there, then you know that I've been sharing my day-to-day life sort of thing on there, and I recently tried out Uno. Now, if you don't follow me, make sure you do. It is Speech with Guy. I dedicated this entire Instagram page to my speechies, and now you can ask me questions on there. I can devote a lot of my time to making reels for speech content and stuff to share with you all, so I'm excited about that. But back to the Uno concept. I recently tried it with my middle school and high schoolers first. I did that because I felt like I was just running out of ideas for them, and while I still want to work on a lot of their curriculum, or I want to, you know, work on vocabulary and stuff, more like a higher level sort of goal, I found that they were just not as interested lately because spring break is coming up and their mind is just somewhere else. And they're not as interested into, you know, coming for speech therapy. And when we sit down, they seem very bored, or again, like it's very boring. The session seems like no one wants to be there. Their motivation isn't there. So I was like, you know what? It is time for a game. I think I'm just going to try the Uno stuff and see how it goes. And it worked out really, really well. So what I did with my middle school and high schoolers, because again, they're older, they understand a little bit more, I did immediately categories. So you know how Uno has different colors for a lot of their cards, right? They have red, yellow, green, and blue. I did a category for every single color, and my middle schoolers and high schoolers loved it. I thought it'd be a little bit easier, so I liked that it was a little bit of a challenge for me as well as for them. I did red was like things with pockets, and that was surprisingly really hard. After you think about clothes and like backpack, a purse, it was a lot harder to think about random things like a binder, a folder. For yellow, I think I did just basic tools like screwdriver, hammer. That's what I was aiming for. And then I know blue, I did ocean animals, sea creatures, which was also pretty hard. When you have a big group, it's a lot harder to think of things on the spot because I wasn't having them repeat the same thing. Now, I've heard other people use it in various ways. I know someone one time shared with me that they've done it for pragmatics, more like of a social language goal. They've done, you know, before you play a +4 or draw 2 or fun card, you get to take a turn speaking. And that may look like asking a question, that may look like making a comment, or that may look like bringing up a brand new topic. So it's kind of up to you. But that way everyone gets a turn to speak and they're still engaged. What I liked about this game is that for sure everyone has to pay attention. Because I'm making the rule that they cannot repeat the same thing that's already been said, it keeps everyone on their toes and being like, wait, did you already say octopus? Wait, did someone already say a jellyfish? It keeps them entertained and engaged in the activity. Now I've covered social language / pragmatics. I've covered categories, which I thought was really, really fun. Again, for language, it was perfect for like a variety, you know, a mixed group where people are working on different things. Some people didn't even know, oh, that's what it was. I know now. I did, one of the colors was condiments / sauces. And that was surprisingly hard for a lot of my students. A lot of my middle schoolers didn't understand what the word condiments was. And I had to explain, oh, you know, condiments are things you might, for example, use on your burgers, or something you might put on your sandwich, or eat like kind of like as a sauce, as a side, like complementing your meal. So that was interesting too, to kind of teach them that vocabulary, and then to see their brains really, really working and thinking of things and giving examples and helping out each of the students. It was so much fun. Now, where I thought it was a little bit harder was with articulation. I tried it later on in the week with my elementary school kids, and it was not as fast-paced. I found that with elementary kids, I had to really reteach the concept of Uno. It wasn't that they were, you know, in kinder and have never played. It's the fact that they didn't really get the idea of, oh, I can't play this draw to card when it's a reverse. Or maybe they didn't know what the word reverse meant. They just looked at the symbol and knew it was some kind of wild card. Or they just didn't seem to get the fact that they had to only stick to the number and the color. You know, if it was a green 8, they would put down an 8 that was yellow. Or, I'm sorry, a 9 that was yellow. And I had to be like, wait, that's not the rules. And then they'd be so confused and I had to kind of reteach. So it was a lot of redirecting. So maybe after I use it one time and reteach the game, then it'll be easier to do. But I haven't done that yet. With articulation, like I was saying, with my elementary school kids, I was definitely redirecting, reteaching a lot. So it wasn't as fun. But with the articulation part of it, it was a lot of drilling, which I normally don't do. And I didn't see that the kids were getting it as they normally do. I like to use dry erase boards with all of my students because then they can really see their target sound. And then I like to use a mirror to show them the correct placement, you know, of their tongue or their mouth to make the sound. So when I was doing it for Uno, these are sounds that I've already covered. So I'm kind of testing them, right, to see where they're at. I tried to be a little creative in the same aspect that I did the categories. So I used different sound for every letter. For example, if Katie is working on R and L sounds, then the red and yellow were for R and the green and the blue were for the L sound. And I had already the words written down on the board. So now if they were to put down an 8 green, they were going to work on that sound 8 times on that same word. So that was a lot of drilling, and I had to, you know, hold up 8 of my fingers for them to see, okay, I want you to say this word 8 times. And it just wasn't as effective. I probably wouldn't do it again or recommend it for articulation. I personally did not like it, but I did really like this game for language, and I haven't tried again the social language. That sounds like a really good idea. But I also used it for fluency. Now this one was super fun because I find it very hard to work with my fluency students. They don't get a whole lot of practice on their different techniques. I find that I'm constantly having to reteach these techniques. And with this one, I gave like an example of prolongation. I gave an example of sound repetition, of word repetition, and the blocks. I wanted them to really repeat what it would sound like to stutter in these examples. So I wrote down examples for them, and my fluency kids tend to be my 5th grade and up. So it worked out that they could already read the board and they knew what to do. So they were to give me an example with, you know, if red was for blocks, then they had to give me an example of a sentence with a block in the middle. Or if it was sound repetition for yellow and they're putting down a yellow card, they were to give me an example of a sentence with sound repetition or word repetition for the next color. So I thought it was super fun. It was really creative in my part. I thought it was a lot to keep up with for this first time, but because I wrote it all down on the board and I can insert pictures, that might have been very overwhelming for my little brain. I think it helped me out for sure to just reference really fast and look back and help out kids. Okay, this is what we're doing. And it reminded me of what we were doing. However, I don't recommend doing it all at once. I was just so excited to try it different ways, and it kind of fit it all into one day. So definitely don't do that. Maybe try it out over the span of an entire week. I decided to do this like midweek, and then I really wanted it to work and stick. So now that it's worked out well for me in different ways, I'm excited to continue and use this again, and hopefully my students will too. So I hope you all did find this helpful. If you did, let me know if you try it or if you have tried Uno before, if you use it in different ways, because I'm excited to learn different ways to use Uno because they seemed really interested. And everyone, for the most part, has played Uno before. Please make sure to like this video if you did find it helpful again, and subscribe to my channel. It'll mean so much to me. I will catch you all in my next one. Bye.